Gyula Sax captures Viswanathan Anand's poison pawn in this match, which leads to him losing this match because he goes down by that piece which captured that pawn. So this is the Sicilian on the board. So after d4, c into d4 is played, making this the French variation of the Sicilian defense, the open variation. And knight comes to f6 by Anand, and knight to c3 by Sax, and pawn is now pushed to d6 here. Uh, if the pawn is further pushed, you can just go for the capture over here. So bishop comes to e3 and pawn push to a6, taking control of this b5 square. So after that, queen comes to d2 here. So here this is an indication that early indication that white is going to castle on the queen side, and the pawns are going to storm down the board on the king side. So pawn push to b5 now, allowing you to ensure this bishop and also allowing you to push the pawn and attack this knight. And later on, after that, you can just push the pawn and create this pass pawn structure on the queen side. So pawn push to f3 by white, and bishop now goes to b7. And now, as expected, the castling happens on the queen side. And knight jumps to d7, and now pawn is pushed to g4, and pawn push to h6. In case of this pawn push, you can go for the capture, and the bishop will come here. You can just bring your bishop back in here. So again, pawn push to h4, now making possible this pawn push. So instead of that, defending the Anand just went for b4 here. So here the knight is attacked, and it's forced to go back to e2, and d5 is played, attacking in the pawn structure in the center. And after the e pawn captures the d5 pawn, and knight captures the pawn back, and this knight is now centrally placed with an attack on the this nice bishop here. So knight to f4 is played, and knight now captures the bishop, and queen captures back. So queen to b6 is played, and bishop to c4 is now played. And now Anand goes for castling on the queen side, not it doesn't castle on the king side where the attack is going to happen. Both the knights and like 3 or 4 pieces of white is already looking at the king side. So good move by Anand, and now the knight goes to d3 again, back into the game, and queen comes to c7, looking at this white king through an x-ray. So bishop drop backs to b3 because it was attacked by this queen. And after that, knight comes to c5, attacking this knight and this bishop at the same time. So king now gets away here to b1, and knight captures the knight, and queen captures back. Yeah, the best move would be to capture it with your rook, because this allow you to double up the rooks on this open d file, which would have been a better way to continue the game. So bishop now comes to c5, attacking the knight, and now pawn is pushed here. So here this knight is attacked twice, it's only defended once. You cannot move this knight because of the rook over here. So that's why the rook capturing with your rook was the better idea. So now you're forced to push this pawn, and because of Anand's pawn here, first king goes to b8, because the c file, once you go for the capture, the c file could open up, and when you have your king on this open file, it could result in attack on the king. So queen goes to e2. Best move would be to bring your queen to c2. Now the pawn goes for the capture, and pawn captures back, creating, messing up the pawn structure on the king side. So bishop drop backs to b6 now, attacking this pawn. So the rook comes to d3. A better move would be to bring your king up the board, and after that the pawn is pushed to e5, attacking the knight, and knight jumps to f5, attacking the g7 pawn. So rook captures the rook, and queen captures back, after which rook comes to d8, attacking this queen. So once the queen goes to c4, queen exchange happens, and after that this pawn which was hanging, was supported by the queen, gets captured over here. So rook comes to e1, attacking this pawn over here. So immediately Anand captures the g4 port, and knight to g7. This is the mistake or the blunder which costed Sax this match, because after that rook just comes to g8, and all these squares, escape squares for the, even this square is covered by the rook and the pawn and this bishop, and this basically this knight is gone. So you can capture the pawn, and once the rook captures the knight, clearly Anand is winning because he's up by a pawn, and there are 3 pawns on the board, and there are 3 other pawns, and three are isolated pawns, and basically clearly it's a position Anand will win. And because of that, Gyula Sax resigned the game, and Viswanathan Anand won this match. So thanks for watching. We'll be back with more such videos.